I want to thank Nancy for providing this photo to me and asking me to teach her how to fix it, because now I can make this video and put it on the internet to share with others so that they too can learn. This is the totally repaired photo right here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off those layers that I made to repair the photo, and now you can see here there's a couple of problems going on. First of all, we have a nice crack all the way across the photo, and then in addition you can see some brown spots on the photo. I'm going to go ahead and make this tutorial into two parts, one for fixing the crack and one for fixing those brown spots. What you want to do first is you bring your photo into a new file, and this way you won't mess up your original photo. You're going to want to keep that original somewhere, even with the crack on it. Then duplicate the layer in case you want to start over when you get to fixing it, and just make that first layer invisible. Now there are two tools that we're going to utilize to fix this crack. One of them is the clone tool, and one of them is the healing brush tool. You might also sometime want to use the spot healing brush tool, but for the purposes of this tutorial I'm going to teach you how to use the healing brush tool, as it works very similarly to the clone tool. Both of these tools will take pixels from one part of your photo and stamp them onto another part of the photo. And so what's going to happen is you're going to tell it by sampling what pixels you want it to move to another area. The difference between the clone stamp tool and the healing brush tool is that the clone stamp tool is going to do exactly what you tell it to do. If you say, I want these pixels right under this brush to go right here, it's going to put those exact pixels there. The healing brush tool, though, is going to take it a step further. It's going to take those pixels that you tell it to put, that you're telling it to put in the other area, and then it's also going to detect all the pixels around that area, and it's going to magically, or it seems like magic, I'm sure there's science to it, but it's going to magically blend everything together. Now there are times when this is very useful, and there's times when it's not very useful. So first we're going to fix this crack right here in his shirt area with the healing brush tool. Because this is all solid color, the healing brush tool is going to work perfectly for this area. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down on my Alt key on my keyboard, and I'm going to continue to zoom in here. I'm going to hold down that Alt key, and you'll see how my cursor has changed, and I'm going to select an area right above or right below. Remember, you can go actually you can go anywhere to get those pixels that you need, but often to select an area really close to the crack is going to be best, and then just click down with your mouse and let go of the Alt key. Now I'm going to move straight down and push down with my left button on the mouse key, and when I do that, do you see the little plus sign appear? That plus sign is where I clicked when I was holding down the Alt key. That plus sign is where it's going to sample from, and that plus sign is going to move as I move the brush. And so you can pay attention to what it's grabbing by watching where that plus sign is. I'm going to just simply draw along, and it's not always best to draw straight lines, but in this case it is. Now I'm going to go ahead and sample up here a little higher and do this again. In this case, if I sample up higher, I'm going to get this crinkle in his shirt, and so I'm going to want to sample down here way below, and that's going to beautifully take out that crack. Now let's move over a little bit, and once again we're going to do the same thing. Now you can see when I got close to the edge here, this healing brush didn't work really well because it sampled the area and pulled in some of this brown. So I'm going to hit undo. And this time I'm not going to go so far to the edge. And sometimes clicking once to sample and once to paste. And see, this did not work well when it gets close to the area, because what it's doing, as I said, is it's detecting all the pixels around where you click and kind of blending them all together. So for this little area here, I'm going to have to go back to my just my clone tool, and I can sample up here and put it down, and you're going to see it just put those pixels right in, the exact pixels I told it to put in, without pulling any of these from around the other area. So you can see I quickly cleaned up his shirt. Now this over here was a little bit more difficult area to fix because we have lines in the house, and I want to show you when we use the healing brush tool what happens. If I select an area up here and I go down, you can see it made some extra lines in there between the lines of the siding, and that doesn't really look good. So in this case, the healing brush tool is not a good tool to use. And so sometimes what you're going to have to do is go back and forth and play with the two tools to see which ones are going to work most effectively. Now in this case, I want to actually sample, since there's lines where the siding, the shadow on each piece of the siding is, I'm going to have to really work carefully on this to get what I need. And so right here I'm going to sample this, and I'm just going to continue this line across, and I'm going to go ahead and sample it again, and you can see it did work to create that line in there, but I don't like what it did in this area, and so I'm going to sample this, and I'm going to sample this, and you can see now that looks a lot better. And so for this, it's very tedious work because you have to choose something that has the right shade of the line to add in. For instance, I may at this point choose this part of the line up here and put it in down here, and I may choose this part for this area, and you can see now that that's looking a lot better, and zooming in and out to see what you have is often a good idea, because looking at the pixels close up, you get a little bit out of context. Now for, let's see, this area here, I zoom out and I see that this is part of the window, and so I'm just going to select up here on the window and I'm just going to draw in here, and the same thing for this area, and you can see that that one is pretty easy to take care of. Now this is the frame, and so I'm going to make sure I sample the color of the frame, and I have to sample it over and over and click to recreate it. And so you can see I'm fairly quickly fixing that crack over the photo, over the window, and here the crack is still on the frame, so I'm going to need to sample the frame of the window and draw to recreate it. And if you zoom out, you can see that looks a lot better. Now down here was actually some small crinkles. I'm not going to fix this entire photo. I'm just going to sample certain areas to show you how to fix it. This was a big line, a really big crack that I was working on fixing here. But you can see there's some smaller cracks in here that really need fixing also. And this is going to be a lot of tedious sampling and copying into the crack. A lot of one clicks to get rid of. Now for these areas in here, I'm even going to sample way back here and then click. And you note what I'm doing is sampling on the dark line part of the lines and then sampling on the light part of the lines. In here you'll notice this is, if you zoom out, this is a shadow on the house, and so you'll also have to be careful with fixing that. But it's all just a bunch of tedious work, and you can see how I've just eliminated part of this crack here. Up here was also, you have to look carefully, zooming in and out. This was that main crack we were fixing, but there's also a small crack here and a small crack here, and so I can sample from different areas and also fix that crack. So you can see the house is really shaping up. Here in her arm, where the crack went, I needed to sample over here. Sometimes you just have to think like an artist and decide what color needs to go in that area. And so if I just chose down here below, that's not going to be the appropriate color because this is actually a shadow under her sleeve. And so what I'm going to do is get some of the gray from this area to recreate that. And when I get over here, this is supposed to be this part of the color of the building, and so I'm going to draw in here. And so I'm not going to continue, but you can see how that fixed that area of her arm. And there is the similar area over here on her dress, but she's got pinstripes on her dress. And so you're going to need to be really careful once again to click and keep the lines straight. Click right under her dress for sampling and then move right above it. And this is a very tedious job, but your photo can be easily restored if you are just very careful and take your time to make sure that those lines match up. And so I'll show you once again. Here is this photo where I have already taken out all of those lines, and you can see what it looks like fixed. And I hope you've learned something about the differences between the clone tool and the healing brush tool and how they work. And I'd love to see your before and afters for your photos. Oh goodness, I see some cracks up here in the trees I missed. I may have to go back and fix my original